and a very warm welcome to this 1.1 session. My name is Els, and for those of you who join us for the first time, let me give you a little bit of a background. Several of us working for 1 Point Consulting or meditating on a regular basis. The meditation we practice is called Raja Yoga. It's the yoga of the mind. And that means that basically meditation becomes part of our life. It's not just a practice for 10 minutes in the morning or 10 minutes in the evening, but it becomes a way of life. And I personally feel that this practice has helped me a lot, not only in terms of my private life, but also in terms of my professional life. Several of my colleagues at 1 Point are also meditating, and I must say it creates a very special atmosphere in the office environment, in the workplace. So far, we have had more than 100 guest speakers, and these are experienced meditators who we invite every Friday morning to share their thoughts about a particular topic, but also to guide us into a short meditation. We have had people from actually all over the world joining us for that half-hour session. It's every fortnight on Fridays now. And on the 19th of August, we had a very special celebration of the 100th session. That has been a 1-hour recording, which is also available on YouTube. And this is about the power of silence. Today, I'm very pleased to welcome Carolin Fraude, who joins us from Germany. Carolin has studied educational science, psychology, and philosophy, and she works for an interdisciplinary research institute for sustainability in Germany. Carolin also works for several stakeholders at UN climate change conferences, mainly in terms of research, and she also runs a meditation school in Berlin. Carolin has also been meditating for many, many years. She studied and practiced Raja Yoga meditation. And the topic that she has chosen for today is the power of true love. So very, very warm welcome to you, Carolin.
Thank you very much, Els, and to the 1 Point initiative. You just mentioned how you cultivate silence and meditation in your work environment, and I think this is an amazing chance and example for other companies and institutes to learn from, because really creating a nurturing environment is making life so much more easy. The power of true love, the topic for today. I think love and the longing, the journey, the experience of love is probably the most important thing in life. You can say it's a story of finding and figuring out what is love. I think also that love is the most misunderstood concept in the world, probably nowadays, and also therefore rather than uplifting people can also cause a lot of sorrow and pain, and some people even are afraid of love because of that, being misled or not understanding how to love without pain. There is a German philosopher called Erich Fromm, who wrote about the art of love and learning the art of love. And many other philosophers in East and West have taken up that topic, and which also underlines that it is a big topic and of importance, but also something which is maybe not so easy. And he actually says that it's not so easy to learn the art of love, of true love. And one thing he points out is the disconnectedness of the human world, the disconnectedness from our true self, and that's very much what the Brahma Kumaris teach in Raj Yoga, how to reconnect again with myself, my true self. So disconnectedness seems to be the root of fear, and fear usually is understood as the opposite of love. So love, when we long for love, that's a longing for connectedness, for closeness also. And that experience of being close, being deeply, experiencing deeply proximity is something which gives us a feeling of fulfillment, of security, of peace. But somehow it has become so difficult to experience that. And one reason for that is that the relationship to ourselves is often not very loving. And we don't even know properly or truly who we are or experience our true self. And we also understand that if that first relationship with myself is not one of love, how will I be able to experience or share or have a relationship of love with others? And one main reason is, as I said, not being sure, not knowing who I am. And I think this is a state of the world, not only in youth age, where you figure out who am I actually, what is the sense of life, and all these deep questions, but also throughout one's whole life, it's a question: who am I really? And because not knowing this, not feeling often my real self, we have developed lots of compensated forms of identity. And that's what we also call ego, the identification with an illusionist self. And ego, again, also as an opposite of love, is a result of disconnectedness from myself and fear. And one more thing is born from that, which is a lack of compassion, a lack of being able to sense and feel and understand the other, and first of all, myself. So that's, I think, very important to look at, and also in the context of where the world is actually now, what we experience in the world. May it be war, may it be, a lot of fear and mistrust. Even in, as it was introduced, I'm working at the climate change conferences, which happen yearly. It's the biggest UN conference. And there, everything is about the nations coming together and figuring out how to solve this complex issue of climate change. But there is less and less and less result since a long time. They don't come really to an agreement or move and process in that negotiations. And the key reason for that, I would say, is distrust, mistrust in one another. And each one just looking about on how can I benefit for my country in these negotiations? How can I get the best, biggest share from it? But rather than the intention of and feeling of love for humanity, of we all together are equally valuable and important, and let us think from a big heart and a big perspective, and care for everyone. So just these examples where we can see that a lack of love, of real love, causes so much problems and even violence and the inability to find solutions on a way which is not violence, which is cooperative. Back to the statement of Erich Fromm that the art of love is something which we need to learn. And I would agree with that, because growing up in a family where there was a lot of love, you can say, and care, it was a form, I understood or learned love also being connected with worry a lot. So the expression how love would be expressed would be a lot of being worried and maybe even anxious about someone else, or being a twin, being very close to another person, from being an embryo in the same womb. A different understanding, or I would say a wrong understanding of closeness and love, which is more dependency and expectation. And again, coming back to identity, something where I didn't know who am I in differentiation to my twin sister. Even my mother would talk to us in a plural way. In English, it's both you, but in German, you have single in plural in addressing someone. And she would address me in the plural form, even though I would be just one in the room. And so, like, I grew up in the awareness that I'm two. I'm the same like my sister. And that caused a lot of confusion. And you have that also, I think, with sometimes with couples who are married since ages. And there is like a feeling of not I, but we, but not in a healthy way, but in an unhealthy way, that you kind of don't feel your own boundaries anymore, and also not the boundaries of the other. And therefore, love is more a transgressive expression of kind of going over someone else's boundaries of well-being. Sometimes it can be. So the journey of learning what is true love started very early, when I then encountered the spiritual path of Raj Yoga. And in that meditation, for the first time, I made the experience of a love which is beyond the physical dimension, I would say, beyond my identity of being Carolin, being this human being. And I also experienced this in the community. And this was totally new for me, and also very attractive, because it felt so real, so true and pure. I felt, wow, this love, there's someone who doesn't want anything from me, but it's just generated. And that's one of the, I would say, characteristica between like a diverted form of love and a true form of love. One is where there's always a pull and a wanting and an expectation and being on the hook of someone or something. Whilst spiritual love, true love, is the opposite direction. It's a generating one. It's a giving one. It's something which creates a field where people can flourish rather being under pressure. And so I was very, very interested from the first moment, 19 years old, when I got in touch with divine love. And I haven't experienced it before. So first experience of deep divine love in a meditation was opening a new world for me. And I didn't want to let go of it anymore, because having once tasted true love, every other diverted form of love or less divine love feels like not real. So that's an effect also from experiencing and going deeper into true love, as that your ability to differentiate between what is real and what is false or an illusion grows. And that's very helpful in life if you have a strongly developed sense for that, because it's like your intuition more quickly tells you about that doesn't feel real, and then you make a right decision. So starting on the journey of learning true love with myself is the first step. It's very, very important. And I would suggest that to really just start practicing spending time in silence, encountering my authentic, real self. And for me, it took a couple of years to be totally focused, even in being around many people, where I just sank into myself to feel, until I felt something really, really authentic. And it's like really coming back from being somewhere lost out there in the world, coming back to who I really am. And I didn't mind people making comments about me being so introverted. I needed that time for myself. I needed the safe space where I really got close to myself and could feel how I really am. And so I would really encourage everyone to take that time daily to meet the self and intensify the feeling of authenticity. And that's a process in which there's also kind of cleaning happening. Because as I said, the sense or the ability to sense the difference between what is real and what is not real involves that anything which is not real, and there's a lot which we kind of are penetrated by, which is artificial in our self-image, in our understanding about ourselves, which kind of gets released. It's a similar process also with releasing traumatic experiences. Much later, after entering the journey of inner development, spiritual development, I had a year which was very tough for me, where I took a lot of sorrow actually from incidences. And I came to a point where I was really so deeply hurt that I couldn't just go on with my life like that. And I knew the only way or the only medicine which really could help me and to heal and to, heal my wounds was divine love. And that's like the second step after being close and coming closer to myself and loving myself, is to connect with the divine love, with the divine being, with God. And I did that for a year with a lot of focus, there was kind of no chance. I had to do it because the pain was so much, so strong. And so I kind of externally kept going on with my life, doing things I needed to do. But internally, I was just looking for the next moment where I could just be with myself, spend time in silence and connect with divine love. And for some, maybe the concept of God is familiar. For others, maybe not at all. And I would just like to invite you to experiment with getting in touch with that energy of divine love beyond the material dimension, where you just travel with your mind in a space of silence and connect with something you can call the source of love, for example, and be still and allow it to touch you. And I would like to now guide a little meditation where we can go into that experience. Just sit relaxed and breathe in deeply. Allow your mind, your attention to go inside. And gently reconnect with what feels absolutely true and peaceful inside. In my awareness, I bundle my energy and become like a small point of light. I feel myself. I feel my own company. I feel the being I am. I feel my eternal self. And it's beautiful to be close in this moment. That moment of truth, of real meeting myself, my real encounter, I naturally also connect to a higher source of power, benevolent, well-wishing, beautiful being of love. I imagine that there is one being in the universe, one source, which never changes in the quality of his love. Never changes. Always is full. I imagine a gentle touch of this light of love on my heart. And I can feel its purity. And therefore can allow it to touch me. I open my heart and allow this rays of pure love to enter me. I allow it to sink inside myself. And I can become totally absorbed in this union, closeness of true, pure love. My heart becomes wide, big. My heart relaxes. I stay and bathe in that beautiful feeling. Until my whole being is absorbed. And from here, holding this energy inside myself, I now look into the world. See my human family. And I feel connected mutually to each and every one of them. I share the feeling of love, the energy of true spiritual love. Thank you. I'd like to just offer you these 3 takeaways to really spend time with yourself every day, to get closer, to feel close, to feel connected, until you are absorbed in the authentic self. And secondly, to do the same with the divine source. Because in that relationship, we can really learn the art of loving, of sharing love, and heal. And then thirdly, practice emerging love throughout the day and allow it to color everything you do. Love, sharing love is not about hugging or kissing others. It's an energy. It's subtle. It's a state of being love. And the more we do that, we generate that culture and energy, the more we become fulfilled with love ourselves. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Caroline, for taking us on that beautiful journey, going within and practicing that meditation. That was really very special. And I also liked from your session how you explained that when we identify with a false feeling of love or a false sense of being, it leads to so many problems, not only in our personal lives, but probably also worldwide, if we look at globally. And then also, I think you shared how being introvert and connecting with that divine true love has helped you through a very tough time in your life. So thanks for that honest sharing. So we have the next session for the Oneness program scheduled on it's the 16th of September. And we have Gitte Hulden from Finland who will join us for that session. And she will talk about go with the flow, letting go of a controlling attitude or controlling nature. So thanks everyone for joining us today. I hope you have enjoyed the session. Thank you to the technical team and have a nice day. Bye-bye.